Hey everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. We are still coasting through this first week of Ether Revolt. It actually hasn't come out yet. It'll come out Friday, so everybody run out to your LGS and get the cards that you need, or if you're just feeling froggy, you can go buy you some boxes. But anyway, went to the pre-release, got lucky, got all of the legendary creatures, had to trade for some, but Um, and today we're doing Rishkar. I know when I first opened him at the pre-release, I had actually pronounced him wrong, so if you all watched that video, I do apologize. Um, Rishkar, 2/2, when he comes into play, you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to two creatures, and creatures that you control with a counter on it have the Llanowar ability. Now, I like the fact that it says with a counter, it doesn't specify +1/+1. So this deck would, this card would be viable in a ton of decks outside of his own. You could do, I mean, just any kind of counters. So I really like it. Though what I decided to go with today was with him is something that I've been doing recently, and I figure the elf guy would be the way to do it. I went block. All cards in this deck are Kaladesh or Ether Revolt. So this is the only one I did that way. I'm trying to just not build just another elf deck. So this one, it does work with the +1/+1 counter theme, but there's also, I found out, a strong energy theme. So let's get right to it. We have got the Tusker. Of course, this guy's great. If somebody ever forces you to bounce it, that's just extreme value. Draw a card for each creature you got with a counter on it. That's pretty good. Of course, some of these Kaladesh cards we're going to speed through. The Basker here, this guy's amazing. You get a ton of energy. I mean, keep in mind that's both when he enters the battlefield, you're getting at least 7, and then when he attacks, you're getting. Oh, though I'm sorry, it's not for how big; it's for each creature you control. Either way, this is still a creature-heavy deck. I apologize for reading that wrong. But paying an energy to get +1/+1 to end of turn. Now, that's not a counter. I think probably we've got better uses for our energy. But this is sure a guy that can actually make that energy happen. Speaking of energy, this guy is a +1/+1 for 3 energy. Of course, you get the 3 when it comes in, but we're going to be getting more energy. But I strongly encourage with this card, I believe the right way to play this is a counterspell type ability is the best way I know to put it. It's very reactive because if somebody's going to shoot it, don't just throw all your energy out there and, oh, look, I've got a big guy. Use it to protect him. Yes, you're going to bolt him. In response, I'm on a +1/+1 counter him. Hey, he's hexproof. Good times. Also going along with the energy theme, it's not a bad card. I love the fact this was kind of a prelude to Revolt. You know, if a permanent actually, except this one is put into the graveyard instead of leaves play. Here's another energy : 1/1 counter. Now this one is also one that I use as last minute so that you can get the most information possible. Fabricate, obviously. Now this guy, if you got a counter, he gets a counter. So that's pretty good. Not only triggers it in turn. If you have your unused mana at the end of your opponent's turn and you're not doing anything else, hey, you can make some counters. The Fabricate guy. Right on. Now this one only triggers when you obviously attack, and you can only do it once, but still pretty good. Now this guy, if you Revolt triggered, which is the reason why we should be playing with sack lands like Terramorphic and Evolving, but those don't exist on Kaladesh, so we're not running those. First Gearhulk, I mean, you got to have him if you've got a +1 counter green deck. Here again, this guy's not that bad. He's 3/4, and more times than not, he's 5'6", which that's pretty much what he needs to be to justify the 6 mana. Now this guy, I love the Forgotten Ancient ability, or as they call it, the Mr. Babycakes ability, to move counters. So that could help you potentially get a general win out of the deal. It gets a counter on Revolt Trigger. Revolt Trigger, get some mana. The energy is pretty dominant. Like right here, so you're getting energy when a land comes in and when a permanent goes, and a lot of your creatures give energy. So it's not a bad sub theme. I like this one too. This is really, really good. I love the fact that it's a permanent or player, so that will give you extra energy. Yeah, it's Revolt draw card. It's more valuable as reach. Here again, energy. And you get to make some dudes. This is the one that gives you power worth of energy. So that's really, really good. I was hoping to see like a doubling season variant on energy, but it didn't happen, and I'm guessing that's probably a good thing, because that would probably be just about busted in two. But you got to know that Morrow probably tried. Treasure Keeper, I love the reverse cascade, as it were. When this guy dies, you get to cascade. You're just about, you're always going to get something decent here. We only have 1 or 2 X spells, so it's not that likely it's going to fail. I'm running the Planeswalker deck Nissa, mainly because all my other Nissas are already in use. And I like, the reason why I'm actually running her is the trample ability. This deck's been played once by my son against me last night, and he did not get this, and it looked like there was kind of difficulty busting through. Yes, you've got a ton of big dudes, but if you can't do some damage with them to the player, it's kind of all for naught. Essentially, you're, really big guys that don't have trample or some kind of evasion pretty much equate to tap kill a creature, worst creature at that, because they're going to chop block. I have Ornithopter in there as my Air Force, if you will. Yeah, it's a 0/2. He's free, but we're all about putting counters on stuff. As I said last night when my son played this, I took 7 from this thing. And although he was proud of himself, I remember the day where I have gotten killed on turn 2 with an Ornithopter. So, yeah, Ornithopters, it's a powerful thing. Obviously, the Implement, jacks with a counter. Don't like the sorcery speed abilities, but I'm sure that's because it was to simplify combat math. And it lets you draw the card, obviously. Now, the Mimic, obviously, I'm probably going to choose Elves because we've got more Elves than anything else. The Reservoir just seems like one of those things that I just about have to run, especially in a Kaladesh Block deck. We start so close to 50 anyway, and you are gaining life every spell you cast. The animation mod works with counters, and you can pass out counters to creature or player. So even what I love about the animation module is, even if somebody is playing an Infect deck, you can actually, if they make contact and give a poison to somebody, of course that's not you, you can essentially proliferate that. I love it. Love the animation module. It's poor man's proliferate, I think. And then, of course, the fabrication module works with the energy counters that we're getting. This actually comes in handy more times than it doesn't. Now, granted, blue decks are not going to want to run the Ore because it's all about keeping cards in hand. But in your red and green decks where you're playing a ton of spells, hey, this is not bad. Universal Solvent is a removal and a clutch. I do not like the fact that it does not exile. Wizards, why does this not exile? It's a solvent. The Puzzle Knot, some life and some energy. The Ballista here. I love the Ballista with the fact of It is good on turn 2. It is good on turn 20. Here again, there are very few cards that do that. The ability to add counters after the fact, the ability to have the Triskelion ability there with popping for damage, that matters a lot. I've noticed in Ether Revolt, 3 power seems to be extremely common. So a 4 toughness is hard to take down. A lot of times, the point from this can tip it over the top and end up killing the creature. True All-Star. As far as green cards go, this is, I believe, one of the better ones in Ether Revolt. It is amazing. Guy pulled this in his seal pool and completely destroyed me with it. He put it down on turn 3, which, as you know, is about the turn before you seriously start cranking out creatures. And every creature he cast, he paid that green. If every creature you cast in a green deck replaces itself in your hand, this is amazing. And the scry ability is just kind of frosting. Of course, here again, the durable handicraft. Your creatures have kicker 1 to get a counter, and that's neat. Later on, a really cool combat trick, and now it's on-board combat trick, but a lot of times people will forget about it, is the ability to swing a combat in your favor by just, blanketing a 1/1 counter on your team. I present to you the 1-mana draw spell at sorcery speed. That's what this is. And the reason why is because the ability is so bad. The first ability, it just solves mana. It doesn't give you an additional mana. So, in my mind, and what I saw, most people have played this as so far is this is a 1-mana draw spell, which, hey, not bad. Now, Aid from the Cow. Aid from the Cow is the real deal, folks. Ether Revolt trigger. This is just amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Put it on the battlefield. And now, granted, you need to take some doing to trigger your Ether Revolt. But let's get into the obviously here, Hunt the Weak. Hunt the Weak's an awesome card because, let's face it, it's removal. It's going to pass you out a counter. Oh, yeah, I guess I've got to show this because I am playing with the actual Nissa. So it gets you land and the walker. Hey, not bad. Here again, Attune. Pretty good for the energy. Prey Upon. Here again, green's removal. Monstrous Onslaught. This is, also fairly decent removal. And the Expertise. Now, the Expertise cards are amazing. They're all buy one, get one free. They have a kind of a controlled cascade. The card's got to be in your hand anyway. Now, this one is, I think, probably the best one. That's probably why it's 6 mana, because you get to draw, and you have the option of dumping one of the cards that you draw for the second part of the spell. The Expertise is amazing. I'm absolutely a big fan. This is going to have a lasting place in a lot of EDH decks. Let's, oh, that jacks up our focus, doesn't it? So let's get this back up there. Okie dokie. Of course, Nature's Way. Vigilance and Trample. Also, it's removal. Now, regrowth is good, and we all know that. And this would be a 3-mana regrowth. This would be a 5-mana double regrowth. I can't remember what that card's called, but I think 5 mana is actually what that card cost, or 7 mana for 3 cards. Late game enough. This could put, I mean, this is a late game card. You don't want this in your opening hand. Obviously, we've got the Awakening here. I like making one of my rocks a giant dude, and also thanks to our general, our giant dude can tap for mana. Now, highlight card. Oh my gosh, this saved me a bunch. I attended about 3 pre-releases, and the one I did the best in, I used this one, and a 2 mana instant that permanence. It's not just creatures, thank goodness. It's your artifacts and lands and enchantments and all your things, and you. It's just your permanents gain hexproof and indestructible. This is the absolute perfect. I've used it. It's great in response to multiple destruction. Of course, now my experiences so far with this card is at the pre-release, but uh, he was going to destroy 3 of my dudes, and I just they're all hexproof. They're all indestructible, and this card correctly timed will swing the game. It absolutely will in any format that exists. Now, obviously, takedown to removal, because let's face it, we're a little weak to flyers. Larger than life is, I guess the trample is worth the sorcery speed. I wish it was an instant speed so that we could consider it removal. The natural obsolescence. Now, this is neat. We have needed this for a while at instant speed, something to get rid of the Darksteel Forge, because dang, indestructible artifacts, green has a hard time of dealing with. And to be able to get rid of it without having to use that nasty destroy word really makes it just value. Of course, High Spire. Here again, you get some energy. +1/+1 counter on target creature, and then yeah. So the +1 counter theme here is here again. Blossoming Defense. This is a counter spell. This is how I'm used to playing this card, because let's face it, nope, it's got hexproof now. You're not killing it. And then our last card is of course artifact removal, enchantment removal. That's what I've got for today for the old Rishkar. It's I look forward to playing it myself. As I said, my son played it and come really painfully close. There was 4 of us in that game. It come down to me and him, and he was 1 turn off of just absolutely. What was I playing? I was playing Saram, which we'll probably get to next. Anyway, I thank you guys for watching, but as of right now, I think it is time for a shuffle and a cut.